I was the family black sheep until the day I inherited everything and watched them all come crawling back. Growing up, I was the family disappointment. While my cousins were getting perfect grades and scholarships, I was failing math and getting suspended for skipping class. By 18, I dropped out of college after one semester to work at Guitar Center. My family acted like I'd committed a crime. Every holiday was the same humiliation ritual. Thanksgiving dinner, my Aunt Susan would go around the table bragging about her kids. Tommy just got promoted to senior analyst at Goldman Sachs, and Jenny's wedding planning business is booming. She just did a $200,000 wedding in the Hamptons. Then she'd look at me with this pitying smile. And Marcus is still working retail, right? Like I was some charity case they had to acknowledge. My mom would change the subject quickly, embarrassed. At Christmas, they'd give everyone else thoughtful, expensive gifts. I'd get a $25 gift card to Target, if anything. During family photos, they'd literally position me in the back corner like I was photobombing my own family. The worst was my cousin Tommy's engagement party 2 years ago. I brought my girlfriend Sarah, thinking maybe having someone successful with me would help. She was a nurse, had her life together. But when Tommy's fiancé asked what I did for work, and I said I managed the vintage guitar section, she actually laughed. "Oh, that's cute," she said, then immediately turned to talk to someone else. Sarah broke up with me a week later, saying she needed someone more ambitious. That night, I made a decision. No more family events. I blocked most of them on social media and started building my own life. Moved to a tiny apartment downtown, started learning guitar repair from this old guy named Eddie, who had a shop in the basement of an antique mall. Eddie was this eccentric old bachelor who'd inherited money from his grandfather's steel business, but chose to live simply, surrounded by hundreds of vintage guitars. We'd spend hours talking about wood grain and pickup configurations. He taught me everything: how to spot a real 1959 Les Paul from a fake, how to rewire vintage fenders, how to restore guitars that looked beyond repair. For 3 years, I didn't speak to my family except for the occasional text from my mom asking when I was coming to my senses. I ignored them all. Eddie became like the grandfather I never had. Every Tuesday, we'd order Chinese food, and he'd tell me stories about buying guitars from famous musicians in the 60s and 70s. Then Eddie had a heart attack. I found him in the shop that Thursday morning. At the hospital, he grabbed my hand and whispered, "You're the only one who ever understood what these guitars really meant." He died that weekend. I was devastated. Eddie was the only family that mattered to me. A week later, his lawyer called. Mr. Henderson's voice was professional, but I could hear surprise in it. "Mr. Marcus, I need you to come to my office immediately. There's been a development regarding Edward's estate." I figured maybe Eddie left me a guitar or two as keepsakes. I drove to the lawyer's office in downtown, expecting a quick meeting. Instead, Mr. Henderson handed me a thick folder. "Edward has left you his entire estate, the guitar collection, the building that houses the shop, his investment portfolio, and approximately $4.7 million in various accounts." I literally couldn't speak. Eddie had never mentioned money, investments, anything. He lived like he was barely scraping by. Turns out his grandfather's steel company had been worth way more than anyone knew, and Eddie had been quietly investing for decades. "There's also this," Mr. Henderson said, handing me a handwritten letter. "Marcus, you're the only person who ever saw these guitars as more than dollar signs. You understand that a 1952 Telecaster isn't just wood and wire? It's 70 years of music history. Take care of them. Take care of yourself. You're worth more than your family ever realized." Eddie. I sat in my car outside the lawyer's office and cried for an hour. Within 48 hours, somehow word had gotten out. My phone started buzzing with texts I hadn't seen in 3 years. Cousin Tommy. "Hey man, heard about your inheritance. We should grab dinner soon. I've got some investment ideas." Aunt Susan. "Marcus, honey, I've been thinking about you so much lately. Would you like to come to Sunday dinner this week?" My mom called, sobbing. "I'm so sorry we didn't support your passion, sweetheart. I always knew you were special." Even Tommy's fiancé, who'd laughed at my job 2 years ago, sent a Facebook friend request with a message. "I feel terrible about how we lost touch. Would love to reconnect." The most pathetic was my ex-girlfriend Sarah. She texted, "I saw the news about your inheritance. I never stopped thinking about you. Maybe we could get coffee and talk? Next weekend is my mom's birthday party. For the first time in 3 years, I'm invited. Actually, I'm not just invited, I'm the guest of honor. Mom wants to celebrate my success and bring the family back together. I'm going, but not for the reasons they think. I'm going to honor Eddie's memory by showing them exactly who I am now. Sometimes the black sheep becomes the shepherd."